much, Asti, for that introduction. Very good afternoon to everybody that's joining us from Indonesia. I know there are a few people also curiously looking from the UK. Welcome to you. Good morning to you. I'd first of all like to just thank the colleagues of BritCham, other foreign chamber colleagues that have joined us with this collaboration today, the Danish Chamber of Commerce, EKONID, the German Chamber of Commerce, IBAI, the Italian Chamber of Commerce, and ICCC, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce as well. And as we develop momentum, we fully expect a number of other chambers that have expressed interest in joining this campaign of support for Indonesia and its bid for the Olympics will also join us. Just to remind everybody what this session is about, it really is about the international business community having an opportunity to understand why Indonesia is bidding for the Olympics 2032, what the legacies might be, what some of the economic benefits and commercial opportunities might be, all with a view to offering support and endorsement of this bid to the International Olympic Committee. We're joined today by members of the Indonesian National Olympic Committee. You've seen some of the bios already, so I'm not going to repeat them because these are very distinguished people that have had very colorful and long careers, very relevant careers as well. What I will do is just introduce each of them to you by name and their position within the National Olympic Committee, and also just to invite them to just say a couple of words about what their role is within the committee. I'm going to save the president till last, if he doesn't mind, and I'd like to begin with Rafiq Radinal, who is executive committee member. Rafiq.
Hi, I'm Rafiq Radinal, Executive Committee from Indonesian Olympic Committee. I'm member of the bidding committee for the Indonesian Olympic 2032.
Thank you very much. And Desra Ghazfan.
Hi, my name is Desra Ghazfan. Like Rafiq as well, I'm part of the bidding team from Indonesian National Olympic Committee. At National Olympic Committee, I'm also with the Commission for Sports and Environment.
Thanks very much. And Bernie Djonoputro. Unmute, Bernie.
Hi, Bernie Djonoputro. I'm a member of the Sports and Environment with the National Olympic Committee and part of the Indonesia bid team for 2032 Games. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'd also like to give a very warm welcome to the President of the National Olympic Committee for Indonesia, Pak Okto, and also ask Pak Okto to just chip in first as to what the motivation is behind this Olympic bid. Pak Okto, who just needs a minute. Perhaps some background. I could ask Pat Desra. Could you share some background, please, behind the Olympic bid?
Pak Okto already.
Already, okay, Pak Okto.
Thank you, Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, I already delivered almost all my material before we start. I didn't know we haven't started, so it's very good, Chris. Thank you so much, and also Desra. First of all, of course, I want to thank to Chris and also Hernoko, or called Owok, for making today's event. I believe it will be giving us very good for our future in the moment of bidding the Olympic 2032. Maybe I want to jump directly to the answer. If you ask why Indonesia want to bid for Olympic 2032, I will say why not. because we are ready, not tomorrow, but we are ready today. Of course, without COVID. If it's not COVID, then we're ready to deliver the Olympic today. All the facilities already there. The experience after Asian Games and Asian Para Games, I had the opportunity to lead the organizing committee of Asian Para Games. And I think we realized our president, Mr. Joko Widodo, had a very great passion for sport. You know, in during 2016, I was the chef de mission for Indonesian team to Olympic Brazil, Rio. And that moment, actually one of the historical moment, because in the history of Indonesian sport, Mr. Jokowi was the biggest president. I mean, is the only president who gave the biggest incentive to athlete, which is I think $700,000 or around 500,000 pound. That's only for one gold, which is mixed badminton. So, and after that, during the Asian Games and Asian Para Games, again, our president gave so many incentives, not only to athletes, but also to the coaches and also to the national federation. And we still remember, after the Asian Games, the president himself, he wrote a letter, his personal letter to President Thomas Bach, IOC or International Olympic Committee President, requesting Indonesia to host Olympic in 2032. And that time, I still in moment of doing the Asian Para Games. I've been in sport almost forever because I grew up with martial art, and I had opportunity to lead cycling, Indonesian Cycling Federation. I still vice president of I still vice president of Asian Cycling Confederation. I also, if you're familiar with boxing, I think I used to be a youngest boxing promoter in the world, and also the only international boxing promoter who had some license from a different federation. But given the opportunity to lead the National Committee, NOC, National Olympic Committee, is totally different ball games. Pak Jokowi, our president, he really want to move the paradigm of Indonesian sport. We are already in the right path, because today our main goal in sport, for every sport, which whether it is Olympic number or non-Olympic number, the main goal is Olympic. For non-Olympic number is World Championship, because we realize every Olympic always 28 fixed number for Olympic number, and 5 additional number can be added up from non-Olympic number. So with all the passion supported by most of Indonesian 270 million Indonesian population, we really want to move forward. We realize we are the 4th biggest population in the world. And yesterday, we are not ready. But today, the government already put the blueprint, grand design of Indonesian sports, which is, of course, at the end will be Olympic. And it's not only stop in 2032, but the government already designed the program until 100 years Indonesian independence, which is to 2045, I believe. And that's 1 year before Olympic. Olympic is 2044, I think. So with all that energy, so if you remember, the tagline of Asian Games was "Energy of Asia," and the tagline of Asian Para Games was this inspiring spirit and energy of Asia. So still energy of Asia. With all that energy, with all that euphoria, we really eager to win the bid to host the Olympic in 2032. We in the position of continuous dialogue, because today the way of choosing the host country is different compared to the previous. Used to be with beauty contest, but now they use the term of dialogues. So of course, as we know, Brisbane, they already entered the bid before us, and they became targeted dialogue. We are after that. We were after that. We are in position of continuous dialogue. So one before the targeted dialogue. But of course, this race not finished yet. With your support, with this BritCham, I think this is not my first time being in BritCham. I remember when I was president of Young Entrepreneurs Association, I also, I think, invited twice in your event. So with this opportunity as president of Indonesian Olympic Committee, I want to request your support. Please support us. Please help us with all your resources so we can win this bid. Because we realize in sport together, of course, we will be stronger. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you very much, Pak Otto. And I shouldn't therefore have said welcome. I should have said welcome back. Thank you for that. So this is a bid that has presidential support. This is a bid that Indonesia feels it's ready for. I'd really like to move to Pak Rafiq, because I know that in our discussions leading up to this, you had pointed out that actually very, very few developing countries had been awarded Olympic Games. What do you think it is about the Indonesian bid that might attract the attention of the Olympic Committee?
Thank you for the opportunity. Indonesia will have the good mutual benefit with the IOC, because not only the country Indonesia, we need to develop we are in the developed country. We need the sport to have to educate the young generation with the sport. Without all the Olympic movement, which is very fit for our developed country, with our fourth population, with so many race in Indonesia, and with this sport we can develop the socio-economy and also the culture. But in the same time, I also want to know that exactly what is the Olympic plan for the world, because for me is Pierre Coubertin said, like, not only to win the games, but to participate is more important. How we can participate if you separate us? You have to put us together with the others and put together apple to apple. Then we know that we can win the host. And if we win the host, Indonesian will be developed from the developed country to the developed country, to the developed country with the socio-people economy and also the culture. The culture is more important. The social economy will be more important than the sport. The sport is educate us to make it better. After Asian Games, Indonesia or Jakarta especially, they just woke up how we respect with the disabled after para games. This is how you cannot buy. You have to pass through it. This is how we expect the Indonesia to be more developed after we hosting the Olympic. I can understand a lot of the countries before they host the Olympic, they're not really good, but after they host the Olympic, they really move forward because the people understand how they respect on each other, how they can more equal in the society on that moment. But I also think for us at the moment, Brisbane is already done 2 times Olympic, and the purpose for the IOC is not so much different, not so much because this is developed country, Australia. For us, it will be a lot of meaning for the Southeast Asia, the first Olympic in Southeast Asia, especially with the most population people. I think this is the one more important than the others.
Thank you, Pat Rafiq. So the main point you're making is that for Indonesia, the impacts can be so many more times greater than a country like Australia and like Brisbane. We understand that. So Pat, Desra, obviously 2018, at relatively short notice, Indonesia hosted an Asian Games, referred to by Pak Okto. Overall, I think most people would regard that it went well. What is your take on the impact of the Asian Games for Indonesia?
The best people to ask should not be Indonesian. The best people to ask would be foreigner, like like you, Pak Chris. Well, you are half foreigner anyway. You can see the differences. You can see the change happen before and after. You can see changes. The most important is the not just physical infrastructure that we made a big leap before and after the Asian Games. Also, the attitude of people. You can see how Indonesian not just supported Asian Games as a spectator, but they become active as part of the Asian Games itself. Asian Games brings in helpers, unpaid helpers, that is probably the biggest in the world. A year ago, 2 years ago, I remember we made a reunion of Asian Games. You can see people come in and then they talk about how Pak Rafiq can add more to this story, of course, than Pak Okto. How they are very, very proud of being part of the Asian Games. Indonesia or Asia in this in general, it's about hospitality. That is our strength. Hospitality is one key aspect of hosting events, any event, not just sporting events. And I believe hospitality play key roles in the success of hosted our past Asian Games as well as Olympics. Not to mention, Pak Okto already mentioned about our infrastructure, venues, villages, that we basically don't need to build or to develop new ones. We can use whatever that we have what we have now, as well as the one that is being built, not for Olympics, but it is part of the development. It is part of the plan of Jakarta as a city. So from my perspective, we have everything that we have to win and to host a successful Olympics. venue, the size of economy, the size of market of Indonesia, hospitality, we have that. Technology, we are ready for that. Economy, Bernie will talk about it further. How we as part of Asia, as the biggest market and biggest country in South Asia, how we can contribute way bigger to IOC than any other countries.
Thank you, Pat Desra. Yeah, I think you've encapsulated many of the non-commercial benefits that there can have been. The togetherness of the nation, in particular, is one. Expressing the nation as greater hospitality is another. I'd like to bring Pat Bernie in at this stage. We're an international community here of business people. We're not necessarily sports people. And we want to support. But there are some that might have observed, Bernie, that perhaps the Asian Games gobbled up an awful lot of the national purse without any real return on investment. How would you respond to that?
Well, thanks, Chris. That's an excellent point there. I think, look, one of the points that Indonesia has been successful for is the fact that we were appointed later as a replacement for the Asian Games, and we were able to sort of jumpstart that in a very successful way. I think that I guess that exhibit how the capacity and the quality of the both government as well as private sector work together. I guess when you look at the Olympic Games today, I just want to get us back to Pak Okto's point earlier. The way IOC will choose the country today for hosting the Games is very much different from what it was before. IOC now is looking for a legacy in terms of economic legacy, impact, and also very important that the Olympic Games is done in the most effective and efficient way in, for instance, using a legacy infrastructure, legacy of facilities, not building a new, totally new as it was before. So BID is no longer building new things, right? Indonesia, I think, represent, and I suppose all of us here are quite familiar being involved in business, that this 275, almost 300 million people is ever growing as one of the most urbanized region in the regions, right? Between now and 2025, 2030, urbanization in Indonesia will create new cities. There will be, it was projected that a good 60 million new middle class will be born at that time. We will be looking at 70 million plus people transforming to become urban population. And also, not to mention the new vibrant new digital economic ecosystem with our the trends on that in the marketplace. So having more time between now and the Games, it will be a different with Asian Games, where it was actually a 2 years, 3 years basically lead time that was performed very well. But for the economy, for business to be able to reap the benefit of the market, I think a 10, 15, 20 years horizons for the Games is just, it's just perfect. Now, another thing that I would like to mention is this transformation of new urban population is not only requiring new infrastructure, but you'll be surprised actually for the Games, which is more prestigious, but a little bit smaller in terms of size with the Asian Games, right? You'll be surprised that actually the urban links and urban mobility programs that we have today around Jakarta is actually growing towards the right directions. I think we're seeing the right vibe. Now, some of us are less optimistic, obviously, but if you keep the momentum going in the next 5-10 years, I think we have a winner here. Last point, Chris, I think the trend of green economy and the new way of mobility and electric vehicles and batteries and stuff like that. We are in the epicenter of that. So I think we are seeing the signals coming in. I know every one of us are looking at that. Hopefully, I think I'm pretty confident that the direction is right, and this is what we are banking on in this bid, Chris. Now, as opposed to our competitor supposedly at the moment, Brisbane, it's pretty hard to compare 275 billion and Queensland. I think I'm getting a bit offensive here on the game. So market-wise, I guess you know where to bid.
No offense taken. I'm British, so that's fine. So I think that your point again is very well made. The Asian Games was a very rushed project, 2 to 3 years. There wasn't really an opportunity to finesse the commercial opportunities and dividend that there might have been. However, with a 10 to 15 year or a 10-year plus lead in, there will be time to take an awful lot of the different communities and publics along to make sure there is a much better return and a more equitable return for those involved in the games. I'd like to stay then with the theme of legacy, but move away from perhaps commercial. You touched on the environment, for example. Becoming a better environmental citizen for Indonesia is a huge challenge. And I know there is a commitment to become net zero in 2060. And certainly having something of the profile of an Olympics can often jettison that ambition to move forward to greater sustainability at a greater pace, with working alongside nations that are great examples of that. What other things do you think might be legacies that could represent incentives and inspiration for international business communities to drive their support of this project? I'll stay with you if I may, Bernie. Sustainability is one. What else do you think?
I think sustainability is one, definitely, and actually it's it will be probably, if not the best platform to see how this transformation in the 270 million plus people will happen in terms of becoming a much more healthier society, a more vibrant urbanized population, if you wish. This is a definitely the platform for further Indonesian athletes playing in a world fora, yeah, and this is the way for us to be, one of the best sporting countries, so as well as in the games, okay? Because you can see, even in the last, you can see how the transformation now, as we are. Let's talk a little bit about the COVID-19, right? As we look at certain restrictions for us in the public health sector, we are getting more healthier, and suddenly you see, man, we will have a really good cycling community, athletics community, soccer. It's getting there, and I think and for the economy, a vibrant population and it's a major plus.
Okay.
Obviously,
I'm sure some of the questions will develop points that have been made. I would just like to. I noticed there are a number of educators on the call, and I'm pretty sure I know what they're interested in, and that is sport is a wonderful medium for youth development in many forms. I think it would be fair to say that perhaps the opportunities in academia in sports, sports management, sports science, and sports administration, commercial marketing in sports and so on, the opportunities are not necessarily very mature at the moment. Would it be a fair assertion for me to make that this committee, if successful, would actually be looking to international partners to help beef up that capability in terms of professionalism and maturity in those subjects that support sport and youth development? Can I ask Desra that question?
Yes. Maybe I want to add a little bit to what Bernie said before. Bernie happens to be the author of a journal called the Livable Index of City in Indonesia. It was established a long time ago, and you can see the livable index of the city in Indonesia is improving, and especially after the Asian Games. The livable index of both city, Palembang and Jakarta, improve significantly. The people change their way of life. They look at a more healthier environment, healthier place to live, and healthier attitude as well. But Bernie may add more to it, as he is the author of that of the journal. Going back to your question before about how we should draw help or support or cooperation from other countries who has established what we call a sports science, sports technology, sports science, or even an institute of sports, which is basically the heart of advancement in sports industry and advancement in sports achievement. Yes, we are in the infancy. We do have a so-called institute of sport, but not formal, not proper like in other countries. That is where you look at how we can achieve more, how you develop a champion, how you design future champion. Yes, there are that is part of our roadmap. That is part of our blueprint of sports industry that is just being launched by the ministry, by the government several months ago. You are correct. We do need to sit down. We do need to discuss, to talk, to plan, to design what our future sports achievement, what our future sports industry should look like. The key to that one, the center or the heart of that one would be the Indonesian Institute of Sports. That's something that we must have, something that we plan to have.
I think that would be a great initiative, and something that we would all like to have an opportunity to bring some experience to bear and to influence and impact. Okay, I'd like now to open up to the floor. As mentioned by Asti, if people have got questions, if they'd like to raise their hand in the physical sense, there's a lot of you on this call, so I'm going to try to look at you as best I can. If I miss you, I do apologize in advance. Do we have some questions? If you're ready to ask a question, please do open up your video camera so we can see you.
Or at least Chris is from the Danish Chamber of Commerce and also EKONID, probably.
Yes, of course.
I saw it from the Danish.
Okay, so from the Danish Chamber, Mr. Lund.
Would you like to?
Chris,
Peter.
thank you for inviting and thanks for the opportunity here. I think, you know, given the very short notice for this meeting and the relatively little preparations we've had, we're very pleased to support this initiative, but for the time being, we do not have any questions. I'm sure that that there will some will come at a later stage, and I can inform you that I ran it past the DANCHAM board, which includes the Danish embassy, and I got a go for supporting the initiative. So I guess this would be all for now.
Thanks very much, Peter. Anybody from the German Chamber, EKONID, just like to make a comment? ICCCC, apologize, couldn't get on here. EKONID? Nope. Okay. Do we have a question from any of our educators on this call? I'd like to follow up on the idea of an institute of sport, an Indonesian institute of sport. Again, I'm looking through the, Asti, if you could help me see through people who are on the call. Okay, from one of our colleagues from the world of journalism, I have had a question sent in from the Jakarta Post from Ramadhani Saputra, and he is, the question being asked is, are you in any way nervous with what's happening with Tokyo and the risks of COVID and possibly greater and other risks that are so difficult to manage, impacting how Indonesia might deal with an Olympic Games in 2032. Would anyone just like to have a quick response to that? Because I know it's perhaps a bit of a premature question, not having the bid, but somewhere in the thinking must be, how would we deal with the things that might go wrong? That's open to.
As young entrepreneurs, also as former president of Young Entrepreneurs Association in Indonesia, we believe in one thing actually. In every problem, always come opportunity. So we also see that opportunity in this Olympic of Tokyo, because maybe as you mentioned earlier as the question, people worried, people scared, people nervous, but us, we are really very, we can't wait to be in Tokyo, because since the beginning we said we will fully support Tokyo. I personally knew the president of Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee, because he used to be just like me, former president of cycling of Japan Federation. So we realized how difficult to host big events, like we hosting the Asian Game, Asian Para Game. This is Olympic. And then come COVID. So whatever it takes, we already said since the beginning, Indonesia will fully support to the Olympic of and also the Paralympic of Tokyo 2020, which is delivered in 2021. And I believe we will bring some medals to come back to Jakarta, to Indonesia.
Thank you, Pak Okto. I will come to Adam Hawkey in just a moment, but Pak Rafiq, again, Pak Okto refers to the Paralympics, and of course, what a wonderful example of diversity and inclusion. I know this is something you feel strongly about, and perhaps you'd just like to share with this audience some of the wonderful impacts about that successful part of the Asian Games.
Chris, you know the difference between Olympic and Paralympic in swimming. So when you see the very good swimmer in Olympic, you motivated to learn how to swim, right? But when you see the very good swimmer in Paralympic, you will be ashamed if you cannot swim.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Adam Hawkey.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for all your talk so far. I just wanted to actually say that since 2012 in London, we've had a significant rise in interest in sports science courses, particularly at universities, including my university, Southern University, and related disciplines of nutrition and strength and conditioning, and as Chris mentioned earlier, sports marketing and other areas around the kind of sports world. So I think one bit of advice, maybe, if that's not too arrogant to suggest, is that the Indonesian committee think about the setting up of various institutes to cope with the potential influx of interest from youngsters and young people who will be more interested in getting involved in the academic side of sport, including sports science. And I think obviously it won't be too arrogant of me and others around the table to say that the UK are very experienced in that, not just in terms of the legacy from 2012, but also being recognised as one of the leaders in kind of sports science around the globe. So it was really just Chris has kind of mentioned that already, but it was just to kind of highlight that. And really, I guess, and I'll speak for other institutions, but I'm here representing Solent University, obviously, that we have the expertise and we will be willing to support and share that going forwards. And there's also a number of organisations within the UK, including BASES, the British Association of Sport and Exercise Sciences, and SIMSPA, which is our chartered Institute for the Management of Sport and Physical Activity. And the knock-on impact in terms of health and well-being that we're all now aware of following the pandemic, and the importance that sports science and exercise and nutrition brings to society as well. So I think we're well positioned as a country to offer that support to you.
Thank you, Adam. And as somebody hosting a multinational support event here, I'm sure that there would be the same support from our colleagues in Canada being offered, and Denmark and Germany as well. But right for you to make the point on behalf of the UK and on behalf of Solent, Adam. And I think in that context,
Chris, Adam,
yeah.
Adam, for you to know, before the Asian Games, I learned how to build and how to run the velodrome from Lee Valley, London. So you're right. Experience-wise, we learned so many things from London Olympic. That's why we need your support.
So I think I'm going to nail down some agreement here, Pat Okto, and from the committee, that there is a willingness to sit down with the international community as at the very, very early conceptual stages of this Institute of Sport. Please, is that yes?
Thank you, Adam Hawkey, because actually if we are finishing with the grand design sport, which is we now is trying to working with the developed country for the sport science, for nutrition, for cooperation in within sport to develop the Indonesian athlete to become better and better. Especially after big international event, the public in Indonesia, especially Jakarta and Palembang, now the sport become the needs every day. Cycling is in every day people doing, jogging people doing every day, swimming. You can see the people on the Facebook, everybody doing the sport. This is how the changes of the lifestyle in Indonesia. But to be professional become champion, we need also cooperation with the developed country. And then this is how in the 10 years, if we have 2032, we're trying to cooperate with a lot of the countries to support every sport. We want to have Indonesian, the fourth largest population, not become only few participants on Olympic, but we want to have more athlete participant in the Olympic later on. This is how we go, our goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat Rafiq. I think Adam is hinting at maybe you could send him a ticket and he'll come over and spend as much time as you like with him. Okay, right at the beginning, Pak Okto opened by reminding us of the Energy of Asia being the tag for the Asian Games. And the tag that's being used for a book that's been published around this Olympic bid is Gravity of Asia. I wonder if Pat Okto could just say a few closing words for this audience about the choice and meaning behind this tag, the Gravity of Asia.
So this is how we see the Olympic. It's not only game, but it's much more than that. And we are, of course, we are trying to deliver the best game ever. But more than that, we are on the way to making legacy. Because if we host the Olympic in Indonesia in 2032, then it will be the first Olympic delivered in regional of Southeast Asia. So again, with this very great opportunity, I request your support. We need all kind of support so we can trust it to host the Olympic in 2032 as well as the Paralympic. And of course, for the event, thank you so much, Chris. I wish this is not the first and the last. I wish it will become the beginning of another event or another meeting that we can more deepening the issue of Olympic in 2032. Thank you so much, Chris and Owok.
Thank you very much for those closing words.
Everybody.
Yeah, thanks very much for those closing words, Okto. So from our side, I think just to share that we're going to be building the list of international colleagues that are going to join this forum. As had been mentioned by Peter Lund at the moment, this was put together very, very quickly. There wasn't really a lot of opportunity to analyze the nature of support or even the nature of the bid, but this has certainly put a little bit more color around what is going on at the moment. This word gravity, when I saw it, I immediately thought of hub, and as business people in the context of Southeast Asia, we always feel that Indonesia could and should become a much more obvious hub for trade, commerce, and other things. And of course, why not influence in the sporting world as well?
Chris, sorry.
Yeah.
Chris, sorry, can you enlighten me again? So all this audience, all these important audience that we have, they are located here or they are spreading everywhere?
Mostly, Pat Okto, in Indonesia. There are a few visitors from the UK time zone, but mostly.
Great. Then next time we can invite you to come to visit our office in FX Sudirman. Of course, with the after COVID, if we all can pass all this COVID thing.
You heard that, everybody. We're invited to a party. But Octo is host.
Sure.
It's gonna be at FX, and we're all going to get to know each other better.
Just one addition that I would like to make.
Yeah.
Olympic is not just about athletes, about sports. Every Olympics brings in new things. It brings in creativity. Take for instance, Beijing Winter Olympics. There is new technology, new creativity being deployed over there. Paris brings in transportation, new transportation solution. LA brings in another technology, another solution. Tokyo as well, talking about recycling. The theme is on recycling. So let's not limit our cooperation only in sports, but make it wider. So we need technology advancement. We need let's make it bigger audience in here.
Thank you, Pat. Desra, that is exactly the message I think we all wanted to hear. Wider cooperation across a whole range of sectors. Martin Hall, you've got 2 minutes to have a quick question, and if it can be of a closing nature, you're welcome.
Thanks very much. We've got a really positive experience of working in Indonesia. Our company, ES Global, built the velodrome. We were the main contractor, and we built the velodrome in Jakarta, and we had a wonderful time. So we would speak very positively about Indonesia and your bid for the games. My question is, are you planning on using temporary venues, maybe venues that can be built and then taken down and relocated, as that potential opportunity to do something different, you know, and put that new technology at the middle of your bid? Maybe the velodrome or the basketball arena could go from Jakarta to the next host city and really kind of deliver on that green, sustainable agenda.
Anyone have a quick answer from the panel here?
Thank you, Martin. ES Global. I still remember the name. Thank you so much for the great work with the velodrome, with McDonald.
Martin,
part of the new concept in Olympic, actually, they are not allowing the host country to build new facility just for Olympic. So we have to use the existing. This is actually the part, after this, Pak Desra, you can continue. If they do it in basement, then they actually kind of, it's out of the deal actually, because as I said, if we host the events, we already have all the facility here and all the supporting area, just like Bogor. And when we build venues, that venue will not only for Olympic, just like in the short period, we will build new facility in GBK for basketball, but it will be built for basketball Asia Cup and also World Cup. And in Bogor, they will build the integrated sport facility. And it's not because Olympic, but just the local government decide they want to build facility, but Olympic quality. So since we already put Olympic as goal, so now all the facility will be built with the standard of Olympic. And I think it's very good start, a good point to start.
Thanks very much, Pak. A great question, Martin. I think you're opening up a debate here because a few comments have come directly into me. And of course, Indonesia is a huge country, 270 million, as has been stated. It spans from London to Turkey. That's how big it is. And isn't it a shame if the facilities that are invested in are fixed, permanent in just a few venues in the country. Let's have access to so many more. And we'll close it there. I'd like to sincerely thank the members of the Olympic Committee in no particular order: Pat Desra, Pat Rafiq, Bernie in particular, President Octo, and our member Hanoko, or Oo as he's more affectionately known, for bringing us all together, actually, to thank the Danish, the Germans, and the Italians and the Canadians for their support initially of this venture. That will expand, and clearly there is a much wider debate to have. In the meantime, I know some of you are off to the Olympics in Tokyo. We wish you safe travels, that you can stay healthy, that you can be brilliant examples of the very, very best of Indonesia, and you get another opportunity to press forward the bid for further dialogue for Indonesia to be 2032 hosts, and we will be behind that bid. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye-bye.